Oh man, every time, every time I wear this, I think of those guys, Daryl. This is my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl. The floppy ears. What time did it go? Anyway, it's January 18th, 2015, and today's Patriots Sunday, and I got the retractable roof down at my house, so it's really cold. So I figured I'd wear my hat to keep warm. Anyway, yeah. So Patriots are playing. Patriots playing this afternoon, this evening actually against the Colts. I was kind of bummed out that they weren't playing the Broncos because I just can't stand Peyton Manning and just oh god, and his stupid head when the helmet when he takes his helmet off, he got this big huge dent in his head. I assume the helmet does that. It could just be that way anyway. I don't know, but I've always said that he's got a striking resemblance to Corky from Life Goes On. But I know that's politically incorrect, so I'll just keep that opinion to myself. Okay, so just because I say that, don't think I'm putting people down. Whatever you say these days, you can't win. But anyway, I was going to talk about. I'm thinking of this one. I'm starting to see some copycats doing the videos. One girl does really good with them, but there's another one. Another one that does it, and she's kind of like a model type, and like she does these things. She's not really, she's not genuine. Like she doesn't really know sports, but she just kind of, just babbles. It's like listening to like Chrissy from Three's Company, but only much worse. Like 'cause it's just like pulling teeth. So I'm gonna show my girlfriend later on this woman. It's just a trip. I did offer some advice to her. I said, just pretend you're at the bar and there's somebody next to you, and you just yapping away, But it fell on deaf ears. But the funny thing is there's of course 150 guys just all over it and liking the thing and saying how brilliant it is, and it's just. It's like baby talk. Oh man, I just I don't know. But anyway, I was going to talk about the Patriots, of course, and actually, what I really want to talk about was my experience with sports talk radio, because I don't think that's a topic that you really would see too much on the internet, and I might as well give it a shot. What kind of really was fun when I was a kid was on Sunday nights, there was a show called Sports Huddle, and it was Eddie Edelman, Mark Wicken, and Jim McCarthy, and these three kind of like these three old time guys, and they would talk about sports. It was really more like it was like a comedy show in a way, It was like it was sports, but it was mostly this like comedy, and it was really funny, and they had like these bits, and I would just sit there from like 7 o'clock until it was on till I think 11. It might have been midnight, I don't know. And I just remember I listened to that from probably the time I was like 9 years old until discovered that I liked girls. So from 9 o'clock, 9 years old until 9.5. No, probably till about 13 or 14. I used to listen to it every weekend. I just loved that show, and I always wanted. My thing was that I always wanted to call in, and I never had the guts to call in because when kids would call in, they'd always just cut them off and make fun of them and stuff. So, I was a big sports fan. I still am, of course, but I always had my opinions and wanted to call in, but I never did. And so it was that show, and that went off the air, I think, probably at least 20 years ago. So, and then I've always loved The Big Show with Glenn Ordway, and thinking of the few times that I called. I actually had, I never called in too much, and I didn't have like any sort of thing where like I was a regular or whatever, but every once in a while I'd call in, and there was this one time I'm just thinking of, I'm thinking of this story. I called up this guy, Ted Sarandis, and he was like this really serious sports, no nonsense guy that would always be like, why isn't this town into college basketball, and why aren't I getting more calls about BC basketball, blah blah blah. It's like, because nobody gives a shit about BC basketball, and it's just in a college. This isn't a college town. This is a pro town, So. So anyway, and it's kind of appropriate to today's game. Well, not today's game, but it was a team playing in Seattle with a coach named Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll I used to always make fun of Pete Carroll because he had this expression, jacked and pumped, and he was really exuberant. He was like the anti version of, not well, it wouldn't be anti. I don't know how you would describe it. Like the total opposite of the bizarro Bill Belichick, because he was always like hyper and gung-ho and running around the sidelines, and people would just look at him like he was ridiculous. This is before, when he went off to USC and won the 2 titles, and then won a title with Seattle. So it just goes to show you can do it both ways. But I mean, with the Patriots, he was just like a joke, and he ran the team, and they ran him out of town. I mean, actually, they didn't have a bad record. They just, he just was just not right for this town. He's a guy that appeals more like a West Coast type of attitude environment. It just wouldn't fly here. It just don't work. So anyway, he had this expression, Jack the Pump. So anyway, after the Patriots fired him, I called up Ted Sarandis, and I said, I really think, I don't know how many years ago. This is at least 20 years ago. I should have done all this research before I started doing this. But anyway, I said, I really think that, they ought to give there was a coach at UMass who was really tearing it up. I said, why not give, Mark Whipple, who's a UMass coach at the time. And I still remember what he said, and I thought it was pretty legitimate because, the Patriots were going nowhere. Why not start with a guy who, had a great track record in college with UMass. In hindsight, you want to get a guy with probably a lot more experience, maybe with the pro level, but it was pretty good, something out of the box thinking. So, Teddy says something really, obnoxious to me. So I said, why don't you just let me talk? Stop interrupting me and let me make my point. And he immediately cuts me off and he says, I'm not talking to jerks like Luke from Roslindale the rest of this night. And then everybody started calling up and said, hey, Teddy, like that, I hope Luke's not driving tonight, implying that I was drunk, which might have been true, but I didn't have a car, so that point didn't fly. So it's like, it's like I made the call like 2 hours and I put the radio on and people are still talking about me. So, so that, and then some other times I call. So, Luke this, Luke that. So, that was that. And then, I did enjoy listening to the, I liked the Big Show with Glenn Otway and Fred Smirlis. And one time I was at, we went gone to a Patriot game. They were doing the pregame show at this bar down the street from the stadium. And the old stadium, matter of fact. So I went up to, they were doing the show, God, I forget the name of that bar, that big bar right down by Route 1. So anyway, I go up to Fred Smirlis, he's a big guy, I put my hand on his shoulder. I go, hey, Freddie, how are you? I had a few beers with me. I go, Freddie, how you doing? I really love your work. He glares at me. He's this big guy. Don't you dare touch me. Don't you dare touch me. Take your hand off me. I was like, God almighty, These guys on sports radio. Then there's this other guy who's a sports guy, and I'm playing, I'm not going to mention his name. I was playing him in Scrabble recently on the Facebook, and I was like writing back, I was writing to him, nice move, whatever. I was killing him every game. I was killing him. I was beating him by like 200 points a game or whatever. The guy wasn't good. For a guy who was a wordsmith, he was not good at this game. And I don't think I'm that. I guess I am pretty good. I don't like to, but I'm pretty good, And I kept like writing things to him, like, yeah, I worked at the Garden for 8 years or whatever. Because I always thought maybe I might be good in sports, being not as an athlete, but, I know a little bit about everything. And, maybe if things had gone a different way that, I could have gone into that. And, I was writing, that I'd worked at the Garden or whatever. And I used to run into this, I'd see him. I never really talked to him, but I never would comment back to me on the little scrabble, back and forth with the words, And so finally I said, hey, you know what? I'm not playing people. They're not going to talk back to me and be rude. To me, that's the same way. That's the same way as if you're walking down the street and somebody said hello and you just walked right past them, or on the bus or whatever. I don't care whether it's the internet or whether it's anywhere, to be rude to anybody and on any sort of way, and to just, to totally like diss them. And I have had problems with this for quite a while. I know I'm digressing here, but yeah, it didn't fly. So if he's watching this, I didn't delete him as a friend, but not cool. I don't care what the format is, whether it's the internet, whether it's out in front of my house, whether it's whatever. I can't think of any more formats. I guess that's it: internet or in public. You just try to be nice and polite, whatever. So anyway, yeah, this is really going out with a bang here. But yeah, to sum up, yeah, I really love sports radio. I'm doing this for you guys in the future, because not the future, but future. Future family members, if they ever watch this, I explain this to people what I'm doing, and they just don't get it. And I say, because I would love to be able to watch something from like 20 to 30 years ago. So I'm leaving this. I'm going to leave a little note in my wallet that when I'm on my deathbed, that I'm on the net, so you guys can check out all this fun stuff in the future. So, because sure as hell, these all get like 10 views, and it's like, whatever, and then nobody really comments. So anyway, have a great day, and go Pats, and thank God I got this hat on, because it's really getting cold with the roof down in my house, because the roof is on fire. Yeah, the rap song. Alrighty, I'm out of here, and as usual, adios.